Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. What is going on, everybody?
Young and pretty, was it just a dream?
What's up, E-Stacks Fishing? How you doing, bud? Patrick Kingry's in the house. Lime Green Fishing Machine. What up, buddy? I hope the show goes well, too. I hope everybody's hearing me. What's up, Elliot? Scott Luckoff, how are you doing? Show B, good to see you, buddy. Al Armond, how are you, pal? Robert Murray. Tennessee, baby, you betcha. Tim McSee, how are you, pal? Man, oh man, everybody's here. Michael Bradley, Conway Hayden, Frank Garvey, Edward Ralnowski, what's happening? Iron Outdoorsman, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, pal. Matthew, what's up, Matthew? Robert Mills is here. How are you doing, Robert? Shane McNaughton, how are you, pal? Nick Cool, Joseph Cascarino, what's up, man? Mike Ayer, how you doing, pal? Good to see you. David Schottlemeyer, good to see you, bud. Yeah, baby, I am too. We're going to have a double good show for you. You better believe it. Evan Yelk, how are you, Evan? Good to see you the other day, bud. Jeff McCormick, Nick Cool, Danny Powles, Mark Westner, how are you, buddy? Johnny Kopp, how are you, John? Man, we got the whole pile of everybody here. You betcha. Mike Barr, Nick, yeah, baby. David Greenleaf, what's up, Dave? Congratulations on your tournament there the other week. Good job, buddy. You always catch it. You're the hammer. Right on, Dilbert. Warren, man, good to see everybody. Wow. Well, I'll tell you right now, man, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope this show goes off well. Nick's coming in hot. He'll be here a little later. He'll be stopping in. He's up selling his boat, so he had to do some paperwork, but he'll be here soon. I'm Hank Acord for everybody who wants to know, and this is George Acord. We're Tackle Shop Live. We come at you every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I tell you what, George, you guys got a chance to go fishing.
Oh, yeah.
You and GDP and Nick snuck out, last Friday, I guess it was, and went down to the bay, and, man, you guys smashed them.
Well.
What a day, huh?
Oh, there's a couple things about it. So, first of all, that's probably one of my top two fisheries of all time.
Yeah, great.
I mean, the Chesapeake Bay, I like fishing shallow, down and dirty. Chesapeake Bay and the Potomac River are super, super high ranked in my book. And the other thing was, I'm pretty sure it was the first day this year that you did not need excessive amounts of clothing on and technical gear and garments and gloves and beanie hats. Actually,
and there was no wind too.
The wind didn't even blow. I still put my bibs on just in case.
Yeah, I know.
Because I didn't trust it.
I know.
I knew there was a surprise coming for me.
Yeah.
But so we had great weather. And when I was doing my deep dive, a week out into this trip, we had the perfect tide. We had I'm just going to round it off, like 11:30 in the morning low. So, you get that the majority of the outgoing, which allows you to spend some time on some good high water, what I like to do, some good high water hardcover spots.
Yeah.
So one of my things that I like to do on a high outgoing is fish some hardcover, which we were able to do that. We could have done more of it.
Yeah. You guys were getting around. You wanted to get around.
Yeah, we did. We wanted to tour around, and then the bite the bite was just on.
Well, the Chesapeake Bay, when it's good, and it is good all a lot of the time. It has its moments where it's tough, but when it's on, it's a very special fishery. I mean, it's a fishery that we are so lucky to have within our grasps on a daily trip.
Yeah, I mean,
very lucky to have it.
You and I have been fishing it. I fished my first ever organized bass tournament on the lower Susquehanna River, right at the mouth of the bay, at Port Deposit, Maryland.
Yeah, I remember that 1981
or 2.
Yeah, I was going to say 81 or 2. Yeah,
and back in the 80s and the early 90s, mid 90s, even late 90s, in an individual 5-fish tournament, 16.5 pounds was great. And quite often you would win with that.
Yeah.
And we thought it was a good fishery then.
There was a lot of fish being caught. There was, the lower Susquehanna had the great, back then, the great population of smallmouth. The great population. It was phenomenal.
It still is.
It's still good, but it's nothing like it was back then. It was awesome back in those days.
And, it just goes to show you with proper management, and it doesn't get a ton of management.
No.
But the Maryland DNR is light years ahead of many other agencies, like especially the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission.
Yeah.
They're neighbors to the north. And with the management that it gets, and it does get some management.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
It's not like they're just down there twiddling their thumbs with something better to do.
No, they do manage
but
it
they
well.
they have a big state with vast fisheries from ocean to trout streams.
Yeah.
So, they're spread out a little bit, but they do a very nice job with their title program, which they have a separate title program.
Yeah.
And, my point is, after all these decades, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, now we're almost through the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
The fishing is better than it's ever been. The fish are bigger than they've ever been. And the fishing pressure is probably as high as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about the bass. Don't get me started on like other species. But strictly focusing on the bass. So
yeah,
it's an awesome fishery. If you're from out of the area and you're thinking about maybe traveling to do a little fun fishing or whatever the case may be, maybe a weekend destination for your bass club or you and your buddies, I'll tell you what, man,
it's a destination.
It is.
It's a destination. There's great. There's for guys that want to come in for a long weekend or whatever. There's B&Bs. There's great hotels. There's great food. There's great restaurants. You got a lot of stuff that you can do down there, but you're going on a fishery that is exceptional. It's an exceptional fishery. And when you start talking about 28-pound bags and 29-pound bags and dirty 30s and when and 25s and 26s and all constantly, it's something special.
Not too many dirty 30s.
No, but
so
we've had one.
Huh?
We've had one so far. I mean, the community.
Well, I mean, I was in a tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
31 and change.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, the possibilities
but we meaning me and you didn't have one.
No, but
me and you've weighed 26.
But in the tournaments, you've done, you see it, you see what's really there, and it's an exceptional place. It's a place where you can come and fish grass and fish all kinds of cool stuff. But my point is when it's fishing good, like it is right now, it's a very special place, and people realize that they see it, and you can hear it in comments and some of the video that we shot George and Greg and Nick. You'll hear Greg say it over and over how special the place it really is, and he's correct. I mean, he's really correct on that. It's a very, very unique fishery with all of the possibilities down there. So very cool. So you guys had a really good time, and we're going to be dropping some more videos over time here of their trip down there. So they did some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, Nick, did he fish at all, or did he fish?
Oh yeah. So we were shooting some video, obviously.
Yeah.
And some stills and fishing.
Yeah.
There's 3 buddies fishing. And we caught a bunch of fish in a variety of ways. You know, we had a little bit of a cold snap. For probably 2 nights prior. 2 nights prior. Now the night before was a little more relaxed than the previous 2 nights.
Yeah.
But it got cold.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how those fish were going to react to that, and it turns out, you know, they were pretty resilient to it, which is one of the things.
Well, you had that nice day, and that really sparked their interest and got them going. The next day, there was a Federation tournament down there, and the wind blew, and the bite, and it was cold, and the bite got a little tougher for them, but they still, I think it took 19 pounds to win anyway. So, which was light. But they call a lot.
Well, that's a pretty good weight for individual.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, team weights are different than individual.
Yeah, that's true. And so 19 took that tournament, but we were talking to some of the guys that fished on Saturday in that wind, which they had an east wind, which is terrible.
They had a northeast wind, which is even worse.
Yeah, it was terrible wind, but they still caught them. They caught them like crazy for like 3 or 4 hours in the morning. They just whacked them like, and these guys were like, man, it's the greatest day I ever had. And he said it was tough with the wind and everything. So the place is on fire right now. It's only going to get better. It's a lot of smaller fish that are being caught for the majority of people. So it's a lot of buck bass. Over the next couple of weeks, things are really going to change. Those really big females are going to start locking in out there in the grass, and the grass is going to be growing real good just in time for our SummerSlam 2026 tournament that we have scheduled for May the 17th.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people. Matter of fact, we've taken in quite a few entries.
Yeah, I think we busted 100 today, so it's starting to fill up real quick. And next week, I know next week is usually our big week, so we're going to be really packing them in there and getting to that 200 mark pretty quickly. So you guys are going to want to jump on. If you're on the fence about it, don't wait any longer. We're selling the heck out of stuff, and the selection's kind of getting dwindled down. We're trying to restock, but Shimano is trying to get it stuff to us, but it's really difficult right now.
Well, when you say our selection's dwindled down,
it's dwindled.
Our dwindled down selection is like,
oh, it is
Shimano Superstore.
It is. I mean, we got lots of stuff. I'm just saying that's some of the little unique SKUs are starting to run out, but we have you guys covered. We're here. We're taking the registrations. You know, make sure you guys jump on this. This is a great tournament for anybody who wants to get involved with tournament fishing. This is your tournament, because essentially everybody's a winner who enters this tournament. And by that, I mean, for the new people that are on here don't know about SummerSlam. We've been doing this for many years. We don't even know the number. I think it's 17 or 18 years now. Maybe
it's
maybe more. I don't know.
I mean, your grasp of time.
I don't know. I don't even know how long we've been in business.
Like something out of Star Trek.
I like it because, you know, our time is
the first.
It means nothing in here. It's
the
just
first SummerSlam that we fished was called the Fall Bash.
Yeah.
And it was about 2000.
Yeah, it might have been.
That pretty much was.
Yeah, it might have been. That's
So if you do the math now, if you take 2,000 and you subtract it from 2026, what you're going to be left with is a rough timeline of how many SummerSlams we've had.
Yeah.
Now, they were called fall bashes at first.
They were fall bashes for several years.
But then we switched it to 2 years into this gig, we realized that we were in trouble because where we were at on the second year, we took every parking spot within a mile.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
It got
hairy,
got a little spicy with the neighborhood.
Yeah. So the reason for it that it keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger, and we sell out every year, is because everybody's a winner. We have some great sponsors: Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal, and Power Pro, who saw our vision and jumped on board with us and have been with us ever since day one. And essentially, your entry fee is a purchase from those sponsors: Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal, and Power Pro, and it has to equal $250. And that's for the boat. It's not per person. It's for the boat. You guys can split it up however you want. And that's your entry fee. So at the end of the day, if you have a bad day or you have a great day and you miss the money, you still get to keep your tackle, which is a win. That's a win. You didn't donate anything. You get, your entry fee is tackle that you keep forever. And what's really cool is that there's guys who are fishing tackle that they've bought over the years and they love it and they have it. And it's all from the tournament. So, get yourself signed up, get yourself involved. You will love it. It's fun. It's a great time. Everybody's more happier because it's not a donation type of thing. It's not a $250 cash out of your pocket. It's you're getting something for it. And the attitudes of everybody is so different and it's so much fun. And then we have a great weigh in and that whole, deal there is a lot of fun. And we put on a great show for you guys. So make sure you sign up, get involved, go to our website, click on the big banner on our website, and you can see the rules. You can see the registration form. You can buy online and register online. We'll match you up. All you have to do is email us your registration form signed, dated, and we will match up your purchase with that. And that's all there is to it. It's pretty laid back, pretty simple. Get involved. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't be that guy who's 201 and can't fish. So, because we have to cut off at 200, unfortunately. So that's coming up. Make sure you sign up for it. Also, for everybody who has been coming into the shop, thank you so much. For you guys that are a little bit far away and want to make a trip, we are stocked to the tilt. We have all kinds of tackle in here. And for anybody who hasn't fished down at the Chesapeake Bay, who needs a little guidance, we can help you here. Come into the shop. We'll help you. We'll dial you into navigation and where to go and where to launch and all that kind of good stuff. But we got the gear in here, packed to the tilt. We are ready for you guys, and you can stop in or you can shop online to get your supplies for the spring season, which we're in 100% right now. And we will help you out. We'll help you out with that. Just we're only a phone call away, or we're only a little short drive away to stop in the shop and get your questions answered. So perfect. Well, we're a tackle shop, George.
Yeah,
we love tackle, right?
Pretty much.
And we love this segment that we call Tackle Talk. Man, oh man, do we love tackle? And we got some great stuff to talk about. George, what's hot? What's the deal in the world of tackle these days?
There's a lot going on, fishing wise, trend wise.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's spring, and a lot of the country is, pretty much in the peak of their spawn or, you know, on the tail end of their spawn. But
Yeah.
here in the Northeast, I mean, we've got the majority of our spawn ahead of us. And if you go a little farther north from us, they haven't even really started to spawn yet. So, you know, I would say a lot of those techniques that revolve around the spawn are what I'm noticing. Jerk baits have been big. Glide baits have been big. And on and on and on.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a vast world of techniques that we live in.
Oh yeah.
And just look at anybody's front deck of their boat while you're watching like the opens right now, which are on Lake Norman, and you'll see that it's a vast amount of techniques that we live in.
You're exactly right, and you can see them. There's, you know, every time they click from camera to camera to camera, somebody's throwing something different. You know, there's a lot of techniques out there that are working really well.
Yeah,
right
yeah. I fished Sunday on something we'll talk about a little later, a Z-Man trip, and you know, I was trying to prune back when I was preparing the jet boat, because we were going upper river the night before. And, you know, it's pre-spawn, it's spawn, it's post-spawn.
Yeah.
You know, it's from up on the bank to out fishing, you know, ledges and troughs and boulders and offshore wood. You know, it's a vast array of techniques that I use this time of the year. Just because I'm not out there every day, it takes me a little while to get dialed in.
Yeah.
And I want it right there.
Yeah.
So I was looking at my boat and I'm like, man, whoever gets in my boat, I wasn't sure who was fishing with me. They're going to think I'm I got a problem. And what little do they know,
yeah,
there's 10 more in the rod locker, and I took 10 out at the house. So there's a lot going on right now. And, you know, I like to mix it up for you guys, because I know based upon the comments, a lot of people enjoy Tackle Talk.
They love it. Everybody loves it.
You know, based upon what I'm seeing around the country in the last couple of years on podcasts, a lot of people have adopted Tackle Talk. So it's a great segment. I really enjoy it. Mike really enjoys it. Cameraman Nick loves it. Too bad he's not here to zoom in and everything, but he'll be here.
Yeah, he's coming.
So I went with a few things here, and you know, some of this stuff is a little repetitive because, for example, you know, we're in the midst of a G Loomis IMX Pro Gen 3 launch. Okay.
Right in the middle of it.
And they're just shipping at the pace of molasses running uphill in the winter. But today we got 5, 6, 7 models in, but there's 4 models that are very revolutionary for this series. And I know you're going to enjoy seeing them, and I'm going to really enjoy telling you about them. Mike's behind the camera. He's wagging his head. He doesn't even know about them. He doesn't even know about them. He hasn't had time to even look into them because we've been so busy. But check this out. The hottest thing for the last 3 or 4 years in this shop anyways, well, I should say one of the hottest things, I think we throw that around too much, has been BFS. And there's a bunch of companies that responded to BFS. A lot of them did a really good job. Some of them, you know, were like some of you in high school. You did just enough to get past. Some of them, they didn't quite make it, you know. So we have people jumping on the BFS train and capitalizing on the excitement of it who don't know what they're doing. We have leaders in the BFS world, and we have a new entry in that department. So I want to show you this. You guys are going to like this. So what we have here is something that you're not seeing a lot of in BFS. And BFS stands for Bait Finesse Systems. This rod right here, BFS stands for Bass Finesse Systems, because this is a bass BFS rod. And the main reason that you'll notice that is because when you look on your tag here and you're reading it, it's 7 feet long. Okay, now Shimano has done that with several other BFS rods in their Zodius lineup. But for the most part, the industry has responded with BFS in the low 6 to mid 6 range, like 6.2 to 6.8, which is great. But if you're open water and you're chucking anything from a little like Ned head with a little plastic on it to a Karashi, which we all love, and you want some distance, you want a longer rod. So I'm excited about this rod as much as I am excited about the new Zodius 7-footer. This is an IMX Pro BFS 7-foot fast action light. Mike, show them the taper. So if you come back in here, I'm going to flex this for you again. I want you to look between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th guides. I'm not going to flex it real hard like I did that time, but look between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th guides, and you're going to see a beautiful fast taper. And the rest of that rod was a little bit of midsection and all backbone. So this is a beautiful fast taper rod. See, all of the IMX Pros, CI4 reel seats. Get my camera technician here to focus. He's gearing that thing up like it's a drag car. He says he can't do it. So trust me, it's a CI4 reel seat. It's got a beautiful grade of cork, split grip. And Fuji Alkanite guides. This particular rod is $450, which is pretty much the price range for, if not all of them, the majority of them, of course. So that's your 840 BFS. I have 3 more models I want to highlight. These are all new models. In some case, they're new models, period, like this. This is new. Never happened in a Loomis. The next one I'm going to show you is new. Never happened in a Loomis. Okay, this is an 871 JWR, jig and worm rod. 871. So what you have is a 7-foot 3-inch medium light extra fast. This thing is awesome. They had an 872 in the NRX. And probably in some of the other models over the years, but never an 871. Never an 871. Check out the tip on this. So the fast taper was like the 3rd, the 4th, and 5th guide. This is the 3rd and 4th guide. So this is a shorter. And what happens on this 871, which is a medium light, it feels in the back like a medium to a medium heavy. So you get quite the combo rod. Beautiful cork grip. I absolutely love the flat sides on the grip. You'll notice that area in there. You'll notice that's flat. CI4 reel seat. It gives it really places your thumb on top. It places that real foot right between your middle finger. It just feels great. So very excited. 871 again, 450. Alkanite guides. CI4 reel seat, extremely light. Extremely light. The knock of the previous generation of IMX Pro was a little heavier. Not bad, but a little heavier. And I'm really excited to show you a rod that came out in the GLX launch of 2 years ago that is now in the IMX Pro. And this is a finesse fisherman's dream, particularly if you define finesse as something other than medium light. So in my evolution as a northern country smallmouth fisherman, I went from zero experience on Lake Erie and also a brand new technique to me back in the day that was just making its way known called a drop shot. That's where I started. I started on a big lake. I didn't know how to drive my boat on it. I wasn't set up for it. I didn't know how to drop shot. And, you know, I learned from Don Iovino, and Don Iovino had me fishing this drop shot rod, which was actually, it was a Shimano Crucial. And the whole front of that thing was like, it was like a nice backbone and a medium light, like 50-50 taper. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And then I progressed over the years to different rods. That was one of my favorites for a long time. And then as Greg DePalma climbed up through the bass fishing world and became like even a better angler than he was back then, and he was a pretty good angler back then, he started fishing some drop shot techniques and explaining to me how, you know, he doesn't play around with light rods and drop shot rods and light line, because a lot of times you're stacking the deck against you. Think about it. The longer you're fighting them, the more chance you got to lose them. So I started drop shotting with an 852, an 852 NRX, which is a 7'1" medium extra fast multi-purpose rod, not a drop shot rod. And I've never looked back to what is called a drop shot rod since. And now we have an 863 7.2 medium heavy drop shot rod. And I'm not sure why it's called a drop shot rod, but it has a little more of a forgiving tip on it than a regular extra fast taper, even though it is extra fast. You'll notice this tip is, I mean, it's extra fast in the drop shot world. It's not extra fast in the jig and worm rod world. So it's a lot more. You'll notice it's like 5-6 guides. So that's where you get the cushioning effect. But you got power, baby. And what I like about this rod is multitude of uses. Little swim bait on a ball head, beautiful. So on and so forth. You know, just a really niche rod. So wanted to show that to you. Very excited. When I was ordering these IMX Pro rods and I was going through the list, there was like 5 or 6 of them that really changed the game for IMX Pro. And this is 3 of them tonight that I showed you. So there's also a 902. For those of you who are up in the North Country, fish up in the North Country, or for those of you who are big followers of our pro staffer, Joe Raymond, he oftentimes talks about the 902 and nothing but the 902. And that is a 7.5. This rod was originally designed by Lake Erie and Lake Ontario fishermen, by Loomis, with both their American and Canadian pros, as a long rod. So when you had a bunch of line out, you could move some stuff. This is going back to the days. This rod was actually designed back in the days before braid. So 902, 7.6 medium fast. This is like everything. If you're up north fishing on the big clear water, you need this rod. You're going to do everything on this rod. You're going to throw a spy bait on this rod, and you're going to throw it a country mile. You're going to throw a hair jig on this rod. You're going to do a lot of stuff with this rod. If you're a finesse guy and you like a long rod, this rod is amazing. Formerly only available in an NRX at $650. So now we can buy it in an IMX Pro at $450. So I added that one to the chat tonight just because. So that's 4 new models. I think we got in 6 new models. So we're probably up to about 9 or 10 models. So we're not quite halfway there yet, but steps are being made in the correct direction. And if you're a big fan of the IMX Pro and you want to check out the new IMX Pro, we got a little more for you to check out. And a lot of this stuff I was going to go over last week with you. In this case, I didn't have but one to go over with you. So we just got a positive. Not really, because I would have just done it this week anyways. I was trying to put a good spin on last week's debacle. Boy, oh boy, was it ever a debacle. But we have recovered. And, take a second here. I want to thank all of you who are watching. And there's a pretty decent crowd on tonight. Thank you very much. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you putting up with, what essentially boils down to, a couple of country boys that are figuring this out over the many years that we've been figuring out. We'll probably be figuring it out until, you drive by the shop one day and there's a backhoe digging a grave in the front yard, because that's probably when we'll stop figuring it out. But thanks for coming along on the ride. If you could take a quick second and interact a little bit and on your socials and your YouTubes and whatnot, and just kind of comment, please, and share. And the comments can be good. They can be bad. They can be ugly. Prefer if they're not, but, we can take it. We got thick skin. But really, really happy that you guys are watching. And listen, this segment here, if you're just tuning in, is a Tackle Shop Live favorite. It's called Tackle Talk. If you're new to the show, we have this thing. Originally, we set this thing up in an ESPN Sports Center type of a format, was what we talked about. We have Tackle Talk. We have Tournament Talk. We talk about a technique. And not exactly in that order, but that's kind of the gist of the situation. Tonight, we're going to talk about a couple more items in tackle. And then we're going to talk about a very interesting trip we did on Sunday of this past week, with Z-Man filming the 2027 ICAST releases. If I must say, start saving now. Okay. And also, if you don't have a big enough boat consider selling yours and buying a bigger one because there is a bunch coming out. Good stuff. We'll talk about that later. Back to tackle talk. It is eventually going to warm up. Now, I know those of you in the Southeast and the Southwest and the West have shared a consistent warm weather, but the rest of us have had, our weather's been like psycho. 3 days in the 80s, followed by a week in the 30s to 50s. But there's more coming. And I have to show you a couple new pieces from AFCO that we are digging. And I'm going to rip through them quick. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but you guys are going to love this. Check this. See, I got them all ready for you. I got a new color in the Samurai hoodie. Now, I don't know if you guys are wearing Samurai hoodies. They're $45. They're UPF 50. And they're a hoodie. They are essentially, arguably, the best value in a hooded sun shirt today. And they got a new color called Splish Splash. And, as the main buyer here, I'm not the most fashionably conscious person you've ever met. But if it catches my eye, it ends up in the store. All right? And that's just how I roll. Now, check this out. We need some casual wear. And some of you old school guys, we all don't wear the sun shirts. We just like to wear T-shirts. But look at this. The bronze back. Huh? That's the back. That nice little AFCO hit on the front. That's badass. Nice little AFCO hit on the front. That's a cream color. The badge. The AFCO badge. Symbolizing their heritage since 1958. These are all tees. Very soft. Called Heather. Look at that. The moonlit bass with the bass boat on it. Oh, in an OD green. With a pocket. So if you're still, on the unfiltered Paul Malls, we got a pocket for you. So we call this one the Seth Fighter. Now check this out. Give me a second. Check this out. New shorts. Taking these off the hanger. This color here, kind of a khaki. Okay. This color here, they call this Harbor Gray. Got a little stretch there. Got some nice belt loops because in the past, they haven't always had nice belt loops. We got a really nice outer pocket with some real quick, looks like Velcro, but it's not. Real quick access. And then a zipper inner pocket. Very nice. And plus, so you got 3 pockets on that side. Pocket, 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 pocket. You get all that geared up, you won't even need a tackle bag. You will need the belt. And got a nice AFCO hit on the side here. And this AFCO hit is reflective, but it's a camo. That little hit's camo. I mean, it's what we call in the business a nice touch. Okay? That's called the Pinnacle short. And it's quality. It's not an inferior garment. You're going to love it. Okay? So that's your AFCO. There's more, but we're not going to go over everything. You got to get on the website. You got to kick around, dig around, find the Easter eggs.
Get the Bash t-shirt again, because I couldn't autofocus. Now I got autofocus.
The 2 Bash shirts?
Yeah, so I can zoom in on the. They got to see that.
Well, you can tell the difference with this camera guy, huh?
You got to see the, the cool art on that. I think it's the green one and the. I don't even see that.
Speaking of bass, there's our buddy Epic Eric's River Rat hoodie. We got a whole line of Epic Eric's hoodies here. He's got a Tug Life t-shirt on. I mean, tell me that ain't badass. Okay, back to the project at hand. Yeah, good focus, Mike. And next up, the bronze back. These are limited. Okay. You know, as we sell out of them, we reorder them, but therein lies the problem. Because the rest of the country likes them, and they only make so many. But that's okay. There's always more. Okay, let's get a tempo here. Let's go. I feel like I'm in a, I got nobody to talk to. Mike doesn't have his mic. I'm over here like filibustering in front of the government. Remove Mandami. I don't know what to say.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
My partner in crime.
What I wanted to say about that t-shirt is that artwork is really cool on the bass and how they have the boat inside there, and then the bronze back is just really, really quality art, and I really like that. And I did want to comment on the IMX Pro, George. The tapers on those are so unique and so precise on those things, and so light. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome. And my drug is fishing tackle and setting the hook and getting the bite. That's my main drugs in life. And I don't even need any more rods, but I'm going to have that 863 drop shot rod. I'm going to have that 902.
And 902 is really, really awesome. The 863, I can't even believe they made that rod.
But I'm not
so cool.
I'm not taking any stock until the pipeline gets full, because I don't want to be that guy. But I do want to be this guy. I want to be the guy that talks to all my Mega Bass peeps out there. All you Mega Bass guys. And I saw Evan on here. I saw some of you guys on here. I know who you are. I want to tell you about some Mega Bass baits that are new, because every time we do the show, there's something new from Mega Bass, right? Because you're Mega Bass guys, we're Mega Bass guys. So I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this last week because, technology. And my slogan, I invented this slogan a long time ago. I coined it. The more technological at SFT Tackle became, the more I felt the need to create this slogan that technology guaranteed to let you down. But anyways, check this out. 110 Junior, okay? 110 junior +2. It's the same 110, right? That you're 110 junior that you're used to. It's the same 110 junior that you're used to. This color right here is called TLC. This is an OG Megabass color. Like when they first started coming to the States, this was a top color. But you got a 3/8 ounce 110 junior, but you got the +2 lip, which means you're gonna be able to dive this bait in that 9 to 10 foot depth. So all you scopers out there that need to get a little deeper, this is for you. All you pre-spawn guys whose fish are hanging a little deeper off those points, whose, suspended fish are a little deeper around those bluff banks. All you summertime suspended fish guys, all you fall guys and winter guys need to downsize. +2, big time player, 9 to 10 feet, suspending, probably about, I don't even know how many colors are back there, 10, 12 colors. Yeah. 3/8 of an ounce, 3 7/8 of an inch long, $23.99. Get you some while you can. You know how that goes. TLC. Just remember I pointed that out to you. Also in Megabass, new Respect Series color. I don't even know what number this is, man. This is like Respect Series 1 million. This is Kasumi Magic. Man, you got that black back. You got that classic gold shoulder. You got that red, almost red-orange stripe. Think of it as gold, black back, with like a red stripe, like a sexy shad would have a chartreuse stripe, a faded stripe, and a bright orange belly. Look at that. Kasumi Magic 110. Now we did get hit hard on these. So 110 +1, 110 junior +1, Pop X, Pop Max, Karashi. A couple other odds and ends, but there's only onesies of those. Great color for all you Respect Series guys, and great if you like to fish them like me. Great dingy water, cloudy day color. So there's 2 hot Megabass baits for you. I know you love hearing about the Megabass. Also, we got a big time restock for the first time in a long time on the Bone Color Hogfather. We have every Hogfather color in stock now. This is the Bone. It's got a little bit of a silver back, just a little bit of flash, just very minor. And it's classic Bone. Hogfather Junior from Strike King. The Bone has been out of stock for a long time. We're back up on it. I think we have decent quantities. I think we probably have 24, 25 left. Make sure you get them before they're gone. May is a killer glide bait month. Killer, killer, killer. And with that, tackle talk for the 4/30/26 show is concluded. Feel free to reach out with any questions you may have. Now, the Respect Series, you got to call that one in. Their supplies are short. We generally don't put them on the website. But everything else is loaded up and ready to go. Everything else is loaded up and ready to go. So yeah, I'm going to try to get with my crew and put together a nice slice of tackle for you guys next week. Might mix it up a little bit, get a little more outside the box. See what happens. Thanks for watching that. Let's talk about
I'll tell you, George, that Bone Hogfather getting back in stock is big time.
Well, the thing about glide baits is Bone is the top color.
Yeah. We were out forever.
Bone's the top selling color. In a lot of cases, it's a top catching color. But this thing's got the swivel hook keepers, right?
Yeah. That's quality. It's a quality piece of equipment.
It's it's a collab with Hogfather. It's priced right, and it's been catching fish. It's proven itself instantly.
Yeah.
And the Bone was out.
Yeah.
For
a long time. Nice to have it back.
We're back in stock. We should be good to go until maybe fall, and by then we'll be able to rearm ourselves again.
Yeah. You and the guys got together with Z-Man over the weekend. I couldn't go. I had family things I had to do, but I got the video and I watched a lot of that video, and I got to see the baits and all that kind of stuff, the secret stuff that's out there.
Oh yeah.
But tell us about what was going on with that, because the guys flew in from Z-Man. They wanted to show us the stuff. They wanted us to kind of get it out there and fish it and see what it's all about. And you and Joe Raymond and our rep
Rich Dennison
and this
Brandon from Z-Man.
And Brandon from Z-Man.
One of the marketing guys.
Yeah. And, hit the water and tried out some of this stuff.
Well,
it looked like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I always my answer to these guys is always yes.
Yeah.
When it comes to, would you be interested? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in our business, it's cool because we get to see and test and mess around with. I remember when we were doing the P5 series of Megabass rods up on Lake Ontario with our boy Ryan. And we didn't even know what they were. They were rods with chalk writing on them, and we had calls with their designer. After day one and after day two, and what do you think about this? How about handle placement? It's really cool. Well, this is kind of the same thing. It's seeing all this cool product and being in the forefront of it. It's a great part of our job, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, it doesn't always have to be breaking big rocks into little rocks. Okay. There's plenty of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
You get to sit in front of the screens.
Yeah.
I mean, my life got better as soon as I got a second monitor. I mean, I love it. Now I have two monitors I can stare at.
Right.
But it's, to me, if you're going to be in the tackle business in a pro shop environment, you need to be able to put the pro in pro shop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that means staying ahead of the curve on all product, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And, fishing that product, whether it's correct for the day or not.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's an honor, quite frankly, to be invited along to do this. And we've done it with many companies, and we will continue to do it with many more. But this trip was a Z-Man trip, and the concept was for us to get a preview on next year's line so that we can plan accordingly for how to order. You know, when you're ordering a stocking order at the beginning of the year and it's including quite a few new products, you know, the ability to lay hands on those products and in this case fish them and have expert knowledge from the factory in the boat with you. For us, it's invaluable. For you, it's invaluable because we're going to make the right decisions and we're going to be able to get the right quantities. Sometimes when you're buying this dirty little secret, letting out the cat out of the bag here, sometimes we think we're buying what we think we're buying, and it's not what it was portrayed to be. So this was a big win-win for us.
Yeah, that is. That's
Plus,
awesome.
we had a great opportunity to shoot product videos. So when it's time to launch these products to you guys, when it's iCast time and you're all ready to, what's new? My favorite company. I'm a Z-Man guy. What's Z-Man doing? We're going to have very personalized videos that you're going to see. You're going to see, you know, me and Brandon sitting on the deck of the boat, the Banshee.
The Banshee, out with the Banshee.
You know, with knit hats on and bibs, and it's going to be 100 degrees outside when you're watching these. So,
Yeah.
you know, we did this for you. But the cool thing is, we're on an embargo until Z-Man launches. So, you know, you can bring in the sodium pentothal. You can bring in the guy from, you know, the guy that tortured everybody in the movies. You know, I can't think of the name of the series where they hook them up to the car battery and shock the hell out of them. You know, you bring them in. I'm not going to crack. I won't break. I know nothing.
I know nothing.
Would you like a cigarette? But we caught fish on these baits and not by accident.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know that. And when we get to the launch, legal, official launch dates, I'm going to bring real world experiences to you. And I'm telling you, there's 5 items at the minimum in this new launch that you're going to want to have in your boat. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at, people. Great day. We went out in the morning. We took 2 boats. I brought the SFT jet boat, and Joe brought his Banshee, custom 100% exotic, badass jet boat. Mine's an old Hoopty. I got the Hoopty boat, and we had the Lambo and the Pinto. But the Pinto catches them.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
did
it
that.
does.
We did that. Then we switched into one boat for access to some of the questionable areas of the river where the Hoopty don't go. And also to be all in one base for the filming.
Yeah.
So we could spot lock in a beautiful setting where we could run the baits in the water. You're going to see in the water footage of these baits working, where we had, you know, the quiet and the beautiful background, and we just shot some great video, banged them out, first take pros. And then we got back to, did I mention
Waterboarding.
we put a beat down on some bigs?
Oh yeah, you guys caught some giants. I saw the pictures and stuff.
We put a beat down on some bigs. We didn't crack 5 pounds, but we were sniffing it.
Yeah.
And
what was your big one?
486.
486.
And they were eating the old chatterwagon. And, you know, that don't suck. And they were also liking some of the new embargo baits, and that was fun too. So we had a great Sunday. And thanks for listening to our stories. It was, I hope you enjoyed hearing them because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we want to do rig of the
You
week.
just glitched up on me.
Yeah,
man.
I was just thinking.
I mean, I thought I was going to have to hit you in the chest with my pre-CPR.
I was thinking.
I do CPR different than what
Yeah.
the guidelines are.
I
I
was-
come in hard with what I call the shocker.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I was hoping Nick was going to be here for the regular weekend, but I think
I think Nick had to pull the string on this thing.
yeah, he did. He did give me the winner from last week. So, we're going to do rig of the week. And rig of the week is something we started a little while back, and we got a sponsor for it. Nomad Designs, makers of great hard baits and crankbaits and stuff that you can see online on our website. Make sure you go check them out because it's the real deal. They make a quality product. But we also have the Wee Bit jig and the machete jig from Greg DePalma, who designed those baits, and some of the greatest finesse, power finesse jig that you're going to fish out there. It's a great jig. It's responsible for winning a lot of money so far. So
We on that GDP and cameraman Nick and George trip to the bay,
yeah,
I saw why they let Greg design a swim jig,
yeah,
because I was feeling my groove. I was in it.
yeah.
I was in my groove. I was,
Did you fish it?
I was fishing my jig.
Oh, you didn't fish the machete?
I was trying to prove a point.
Okay.
And
you got your ass whooped on the
5
machete?
to 1.
Really?
5 to 1. And I whacked him.
Yeah.
Like I whacked him, but it was 5 to 1.
Wow.
Yeah, on the swim jig.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Greg's machete jig from Nomad Designs and his Wee Bit jig it's legit. It's an absolute legit bait, and it's catching fish, and it's responsible for a shit ton of money. And one of the tournaments that was won on it was a gigantic $100,000 tournament, but the guy can't talk about it because he's sponsored by somebody else. So, but he got the call saying thank you for the jig. I just can't talk about it. And Greg was like, yeah, I understand. And he was real, but it was just a cement to Greg's design. And so check those out online, and also the Nomad Designs baits, but they're the sponsor of a $25 gift card. If you get on here and you tag Nomad Designs at Nomad Designs, and you also comment and share the link, and that'll get you in the drawing. And the drawing is for a $25 gift card to sfttackle.com or here in the shop. And this week's winner is, let's see if I get this right, George.
I doubt it.
This week's winner is Tom Harner. Tom Harner is the winner of the Nomad Designs $25 gift card. Tom, if you're watching, get a hold of us so we can get you that card, or I'll have Nick.
Oh, they're really excited.
I like it, man.
In the back of the
So
audience.
congratulations, Tom Harner, for the $25 gift card for the rig of the week from Nomad Designs, maker of great baits. And either get a hold of us or we'll reach out to you and we'll dial you in on what you got to do. So what is the rig of the week, George? I know you're struggling on some of this stuff, but
well, I mean, there's 52 weeks to the year.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I'm gonna do next year, but 52 weeks this year, I mean, that's a lot of rigs. But lucky for me, I got a few in the queue. So this one here is one that I learned about at a tournament on a lake in northeastern PA called Wallenpaupack. And Lake Wallenpaupack, on my top 100 lakes, comes in at about 101.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad.
For me, it is.
It is in June, July, or late June, July, August to September, August.
It's closed when it's fun to tournament fishing. Right now.
Yeah.
Right now, it is.
But it's a great place you can go catch and release. And
it's phenomenal.
And it's really fun. It's a fun lake.
But this was a tournament.
Really, yeah.
And this was not fun.
Yeah.
And the bites were at a premium. And a couple of guys that were on our team figure it out.
Yeah.
And one of them is a fluke fishing buddy of mine by the name of Larry Newell. And he's like, check this out. So I already told you it's about the fluke. You remember the blade on the belly of the hook? Remember that rig of the week? This is similar. So we're going to have our fluke. You might want to bring that camera in, son.
I will, brother.
We got going to have our fluke. In this case, we have it rigged up with our new favorite VMC fluke hook with the swivel eye, taking all that twist out for us, and the nice monofilament keeper, locking that fluke in. But those pesky short strikers, those schoolers, those early fall, late summer kind of vagabond, like just pesky shad eaters that aren't committing to nothing. Well, I got a little something for them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our treble hook, okay, and what I do is I spin that treble hook around. I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but I like it so that the eye where the two hooks will nestle the bait, even though they're not going to. It's in my head. And you put that over the guide. Now, not all treble hooks are equal. I get one with the smaller eye that barely fits over. I'm going to put a stopper on before you get crazy. But that's my stinger. So when they come up and they start playing them September games, I got my little stinger on there. Now, next up, my stopper. And there's multitude of things you can use for this. I've kind of gotten myself partial to the Gamakatsu silicone stoppers. I use these things for, if you remember, I used them for the blade on the belly. So we need to get one of these. I had one out, but guess what? She gone. That's what I get for trying to prep up for this thing. Bear with me. These are hard to get out of the bag. That's why I got one out ahead of time. Well, there we go. I got them all out. Okay. So if you look at these up close, and you're not going to be able to see this on the camera, trust me. They're tapered. And I like to put the bottom, the wider part, towards the hook. So I'm going to put it on backwards of what you would think would be right. And you just be careful you don't stick this hook in your hand. And you can reuse these. Okay, you can take these back off. If you take this back up against this barb and unscrew it like you're unscrewing a nut off a bolt, this thing will come right back off again. It just walks right over that barb and comes right off. And you can reuse it again, assuming you don't lose it. So let me put that back on for you. Ow. I want to tell you about that treble hook too as soon as I get it out of my finger. So I use a light treble hook to do this. I use a light treble hook to do this. All right, let me get this out of my way. So I slide that up the hook, get it out of my way. And then I complete my rig. So I hold my bait along, get my spot where I want the hook to go through, bring it through, and then I slide that back to the bend. You can even slide it up in there a little bit, and it'll kind of help hold that fluke in place. We got the rookies on the cameras. Between me and Mike, we're kind of rookie. And there you go. Now, this treble hook, let me tell you about this treble hook. I like a lighter wire. This is a light wire. This treble hook was made by BKK as a replacement treble hook for your premium jerkbaits. So this treble hook is called a Hyperlatch SSUL. And it's a primarily designed for a replacement hook for premium jerkbaits like a Megabass, where you don't want to upset the weight of the replacement. But I found this is an extremely sharp, sticky treble. I've told you many times about how I use it in the winter on my yo-yo traps that I yo-yo in the winter months. And it's great as a stinger. So the next time you're out with your fluke, which it's fluke season, people. Okay? It's fluke season. The next time you're out fluking, you watch this Murray tournament next week on the Elites. You're going to see more flukes fished more different ways than you've ever thought possible. And a lot of them are going to have that stinger on there. Now, if they're eating it, if they're eating the bait real good, you don't need that stinger. But when they're schooling and you're missing fish, be ready to engage the stinger. And this is the Stinger Fluke Rig. Speaking of flukes, check out this special run. Bone Super Fluke. And it's called Ham Bone. Yeah, that's one of them. So there you go. Rig of the week. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it's some of you veterans, it's old news, but I mean, it's a valid rig of the week. It's good information. I mean, what is the rig of the week? The rig of the week is bringing you something that's not every day. That's a tweak, a mod, an improvement, a trick. Okay? This checks off all the boxes. And I'm proud of it to bring it to you, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, I'll tell you, that treble hook saved my butt many, many a times on there.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Tournament fishing.
It's not something that I've used a lot, but I used it on that tournament because here was the deal. That tournament was, and I tried all different kinds of rigs for that tournament. I was getting, like everybody else, a ton of bites a day. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
My hooking percentage, forget about the landing percentage. My hooking percentage was like 1 in 5 that I would hook. And, my buddy Larry showed me this trick. It never even occurred to me. I wasn't that smart back then. My buddy Larry showed me that trick, and he was wrecking them. He was absolutely train wrecking them. And I'm like, you know what? You can teach an old dog new tricks, and sign me up for that. So I'm sharing that with you all today for my rig of the week. That's our second fluke trick. Now, if you think that's an accident, don't. Because I seriously rely on a fluke. I know you do. I should say we do. And we fish them.
I love the fluke.
I mean, Mike and I fish them like from tidal water largemouths to smallmouth in every venue we've ever been to, trailers on a buzzbait.
Mm-hmm.
When I get short strikes, particularly from smallmouth on my buzzbait, the skirt comes off and the super fluke goes on. And then they choke it. Trailers on a jackhammer. I mean, I tore them up last year with a bubblegum fluke on a Morning Dawn jackhammer. They just didn't want that. They just didn't want that boot foot, and they wanted that thing. They wanted that thing hunting.
Yeah.
So the fluke is a valuable, mega important tool to the fisherman. And if your fluke game is not on point, we need to talk. We need to talk. That's another conversation for another time.
The last couple of days, George, around here, you can see we're back with hoodies on, and I got my long pants back on. I had shorts on for a couple of days, and now I'm back with long pants and hoodies. And it's cold, it's windy, it was warm, and 2 days ago, now we got a cold front for 2 days or 3 days, and it's going to warm back up again. There's a lot of turmoil going on out there
amongst the fish.
Yeah, the fish are going like they're getting beat up. They're getting smacked in the face. It's like, what is going on here? I'm feeling good. I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna be happy, and then the next thing you know, they're getting slapped in the face and they're getting pushed back. What goes on with these cold fronts? What's happening with these things?
Well, I'm going to say a couple things about cold fronts that I'll debate with anybody that I feel like I've learned, and I model my day of fishing around these beliefs.
You're just becoming a regular debater.
Well, I'm getting to that age where, I'm about to tell people to get off my lawn. So, I mean, I got Bob Austin all pissed off at me because I told him never to mention the ham bone.
Yeah.
And that's true. But you know what, Bob?
Yeah, it surprised me you got that thing was laying up there. And I'm like, what is he going to do? Show somebody the ham bone?
Yeah, I did want to show it to people.
I mean, that thing's been secret for a couple of years now.
Well, every now and again, we got to throw the juice out there. So here's the deal. I've modified my behavior on cold fronts, and you're gonna hate me when I say this, America. It's because of forward-facing sonar. I've now modified my cold front guidelines slightly. So used to be the playbook on the cold front was the leading edge, the pressure drop is the best day of the week. And it still is. The leading edge, the incoming cold front when the barometric pressure is dropping. But that is a very fine line and one that's hard to find.
Yeah.
Unless you put your boat in the water and don't ever take it out until that drop occurs.
Yeah.
And trust me, when it goes down,
well, we get lucky
it's
every
power fishing 101.
Yeah, you get lucky every now and then, and you put your boat in the water, and it's like it's what's coming, and you're lucky enough to be able to get out and you catch it.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to catch it.
Well, I mean, it's a big country, and these radar apps make it seem like it's just hold on, it'll be here in a minute. No.
Yeah.
Your typical cold front is traveling from like northwest to south, northwest to southeast.
Yeah.
And it takes a while.
Yeah. And the other thing about a cold front, you have different different parts of it. So you got the leading edge, which is good.
That's what we want.
You know, you want that as it's coming. And then you have like the first part of the cold front, which you can fish it. It's not bad.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, come on. Show me some love.
All right.
Show me some love.
Yeah.
You
can fish that.
We used to think that the day after the cold front was terrible. Actually, the day after the cold front. So if the cold front comes through tonight and tomorrow morning the temperature is noticeably lower. This is in the spring now. We're focusing on spawn season cold fronts. And it was actually supposed to be a draft to coincide with the NFL draft last Thursday. But the freaking Canon, don't ever buy another Canon camera. They suck. Canon, you suck. The day after, the morning after that cold front, if it comes through in the early morning hours on a Friday, that's not the best scenario, but you're probably going to have a pretty good Saturday morning.
Well, you have that period of time from the time it starts to come in until the backside when the wind starts.
So usually
there's that period of time that the cold front isn't horrible.
I know, but usually even when that wind starts kicking, and it'll go from south to north to northwest.
Yeah.
Until that really cranks up.
Yeah. It's not
like
bad.
You said, there's a really good window.
Yeah.
And when we say not bad, we don't mean it's not bad for you and your discomfort and your boat handling and you're dealing with the wind. No. The fish are eating.
Yeah. They're still eating.
There's always been a process of thought of the day after a cold front is terrible.
It's done, right?
The day after a cold front's pretty good.
Yeah.
The next day sucks.
Yeah, that's when the wind starts to crank. That's when the fish really feel the high pressure that comes in behind the cold front,
and their attitude changes.
And they change. They're like, screw it.
But we're still going fishing.
My strike zone, which was the day before, that was really big.
Oh yeah.
And I would chase something, is now it's the small strike zone.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. That's the thing about cold front fishing. It just goes from being easy for these fish to chase something over there or go over here to
their willingness.
They're just like, I'll eat you, but you got to get in here. I'll eat, but you got to get in my zone, and my zone just tightens all up. And that's what cold front fishing is. And that's why if you can't get in that strike zone, you don't get bit. And that's a problem. That's a big problem.
That is a problem.
And that's why cold front fishing becomes difficult. But we have different things to do.
We have and this is primarily for a shallow bite.
Yeah. Yeah. We have things to do to kind of combat that strike zone, that small strike zone, getting in their face and soaking a bait in front of them, and then they'll eat it.
And there's a lot more things that work really well. This is kind of like our playbook.
Yeah.
And it's not a step-by-step process. It's like, these are kind of like the 5, like we sat down and talked about, just getting to the basics of our cold front fishing. These are kind of like our 5 deals.
Yeah.
And just to overview them for you, it's a compact jig. It's a shaky head, a chatterbait, a jerkbait, and a crankbait. And, I can see already that some of you are like, a crankbait for, 2 days after a cold front? Oh, absolutely. And don't overlook it in grass. If you're a tidal water angler or a grassy lake angler, and remember, we're talking about spawn season cold fronts. Those fish are spawning on grass flats. Never overestimate underestimate a tight, wobbling crankbait, such as a flat-sided crankbait in grass. And by in grass, I mean choosing a setup that will allow you to fish that crankbait in the tops of the grass. Now, you're going to get clogged up every once in a while. It's not like, I can put the exact pound test line on and my crankbait will run exactly in the top of the grass. No, the grass is like, it's not like you cut your grass. It's not a perfect level. You're going to have different aspects of it, but you want to catch the grass. And then you want to pop the bait out of the grass, but you want that bait to have a tight wobble. And I'm going to tell you right now, pretty much want that bait to be red. And I don't care where you go. I mean, I'm talking grass during the spawn, because especially on the tidal waters and on a lot of lakes, they like to spawn on the flats that have the grass. They'll spawn on the inside edge of the grass. They'll spawn on shell beds in the grass. They'll spawn between the bank and the grass. They'll spawn on high spots in the grass, that has a hard bottom. And there's usually an area that's bald because it's the cleanest bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And, with that crankbait, you are obviously forcing a reaction bite, but it's much more than that. It's not like you're going to catch a couple fish. If you can get this dialed in, and I mean, this isn't like every single time. Oh, there's a cold front coming in Friday. On Sunday, I'm going to go out and use a red crankbait. Well, you're going to, some days are better than others. But I have had spectacular fishing like this on multiple occasions. And I just feel like, you're making so many casts that they're not necessarily chasing that bait. You're just bringing it past them.
Yeah.
And if it coincides with a deflection off the grass or a change in direction with your popping of the rod, because a lot of them happen when you do that, it's kind of like putting the odds in your favor there, Big Mike. And I know it's not part of your, you're not totally in love with it, but I know you've been known to do it.
Oh yeah, I got no problem with that. But my thing is that strike zone is so small. You need to drag into them. So the shaky head, I really like the shaky head, but I really like a swim bait. To drag a swim bait. Right now normally you're just chucking out a boot foot swim bait or whatever, and you're just reeling it back, and you're getting a lot of bites. But in a cold front, all you do is you do the same thing. You reel it back, but you just slow way down.
Mm-hmm.
And you get it to get on the bottom, and you just kind of just crawl it through. And it's just a dead reel. I'm not changing anything. I'm just slowing my reel way down, and I just pull it through that area, and I keep making those multiple casts and covering, every half foot, every foot of distance where I know that there's fish, or where I think there's fish, I guess is the way to put it. And I just cover every 6 inches, and I drag my bait through there. And I guarantee you're going to get bit that way. That fish it's going to come within that little zone, and that swim bait's just going to kind of hop in through there, and he's going to go, oh man, I got to eat. And he just sucks it in. And, they crawl in, you're popping in a little bit to kind of get it through the cover. Or maybe it's rock cover, and you're just kind of flicking it over top the rocks, or it's grass where you're just kind of snagging up in the grass a little bit, and you pop it loose, and it just kind of shoots a little bit. And that's just triggering device. But it's a slow, methodical retrieve on that swim bait. So I really like that too.
Well, and I've fished with you and seen you put that to work successfully in these circumstances. But the one thing that I think our listeners and viewers need to know is you're not necessarily downsizing your swim bait.
No.
I mean, you're
just slowing it up.
You're like a 3.8 to a 4.8.
Yeah. Listen, George and I guided for a long time. I guided for 25 years, and George guided for, I don't know, 20 something years.
27.
Whatever.
Taught you everything you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So we guided a lot. And so, when you put somebody in the books, you don't know what the weather's going to be that day, and you have to adapt to it. So a lot of this stuff that we talk about is from us adapting to George a lot in tournaments with his career in tournament angling, and myself with not only tournament fishing, but really focusing around my guiding that I've done. We got to produce for those people no matter what the weather is. And we've just learned that, and you know where the fish are. You caught them there a week before, and now there's a cold front, they're still there. And it's just a matter of slowing down and just, I'm not really changing baits. I'm just slowing myself down. I'm covering, instead of, casting every 2 feet, we're casting like every 6-8 inches,
Saturating.
and we're saturating that, and we're not moving as quick. We're not moving the boat through that area as fast. We're just slowing everything up. And then I had the conversation with my clients about, listen, we got a massive cold front just came through. We need to just slow it down, just reel a little slower. And then when I see them reeling a little faster, I just tell them, listen, just barely turn down. I want you to kind of hang up on the bottom. I don't care. We'll break off. I got thousands of jigs. Just get that thing on the bottom and really beat the paint off the head. I don't want any paint left on that head by the end of the day. And that's how you kind of dial in on that stuff. And then you start catching fish again. So that's where a lot of this stuff comes from is that kind of experience. And then we took a lot of that and we put it into our tournament fishing, when those situations come, for us to fish in 30-mile-an-hour winds, this isn't a big deal because we do it all the time.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you know how to deal with it.
Yeah, you just start dialing yourself in and dealing with it.
And I think it makes the moving bait bite better.
Yeah,
even though you still have to be very precise with your casts.
Mm-hmm.
So those two made the top 5. And also in the moving bait world is the jerk bait.
Yeah.
I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who he is, but he's obviously has a horrible life.
Why?
He's at home on his computer typing things out.
It's a joke.
I know, but it's spawned on by being lonely and in your mom's basement.
I don't know.
But anyways, getting back to this, the jerk bait.
Yeah.
And I like to say this: don't overlook the jerk bait in the grass. It's a little more troublesome.
Yeah.
It's a little more work. You will, if you're fishing like a 10-pound line, you don't want to do that. You want to fish like a 12 or a 15-pound line.
Mm-hmm.
I find 12 works very well. Mm-hmm. Fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
But get some of the baits that run a little shallower. Like the SR series 110 Megabass is excellent for this.
Yeah, that thing really changed the game when it came to grass fishing and jerkbait.
It's excellent
in my mind.
And the other one is an old school XR10 Rapala. And that's a technique that, it's not commonly used in grass. Now, the jerkbait and the cold front, they go together like
peas and
carrots.
Yeah.
But
and you're right, George. And what's nice about that is they're suspending. You can hold it on a spot that you really think there's a fish sitting there, and you can jerk that thing and just dead stick it and have them just looking at it over top of their bed, and they can't stand it. They have to come up and hit it. There's a lot of stuff with that jerkbait that allows you to allows you to get some bites that you wouldn't necessarily get with even dragging something on in that area.
Yeah, you're
very reactionary,
and you're able to make a pile of casts.
Yeah, you're
able to slow down. You can change the cadence, and it just works. The jerkbait it's probably, my ranking order might be off here. I have the chatterbait above the jerkbait, but we can.
Yeah,
we can tweak that.
Yeah.
And then of course the chatterbait. And with the chatterbait, I have a sub
category
for spinnerbait.
Slow
because
rolling.
The chatterbait and the spinnerbait are cold front friendly baits.
Yeah.
I know we have talked about it over and over and over, but that yo-yo retrieve with a chatterbait is no joke.
This is a very reactionary bite.
It's the yo-yo retrieve is no joke. And also slow rolling a spinner bait with Colorado, Indiana, double Colorado, or single Colorado is deadly.
Oh, big time. Look
And-
at Randy Howell did in a cold front situation on the Arkansas River. Slow rolling a 3/4 ounce. Dirty water came through, the water was rising, a cold front came through
It was gnarly.
couple nights before, and he was able to get that big 3/4 ounce slow roller down and right in their faces, and he was catching some good ones.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
It was gnarly out. And he caught some good fish.
good ones. Yeah,
Yeah, the spinnerbait and the spawn season go together. And the spinnerbait works really well when you have a little wind and that post front days is windy.
Mhm.
If it's calm, don't throw a spinnerbait.
Yeah.
Throw a jerkbait. So, and that brings us to two more positions on our draft. And that is, you can either look at it as extreme measures, break glass for extreme days when nothing else working, or cleaning up an area where you found fish, more than likely what you will do with those previous techniques. The crankbait, the swim bait, the jerk bait, the spinner bait, the chatterbait,
mm-hmm.
fishing them in the correct manner.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know which order you want to put them in, but I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, these are things where it's really tough.
Or you're cleaning
or
up
you're
an
just
area.
cleaning up area. But for me, it's like it's really, really that bluebird sky is just cracking big time, and the wind's kind of blowing a little bit, but even that big blow went through, and but that bluebird followed up on it, and it just makes it tough. This is where we break these things out.
Shaky head. Yeah. And don't
Look who shows up.
Don't be afraid, and don't underestimate the power of a 4.5, 4 3/4 inch worm.
Oh my God.
Do not this is a Zoom finesse worm.
Yep.
Do not underestimate the power of this worm.
Yep.
This worm gets bit, and this worm catches bigs.
Oh,
A lot of times,
no doubt.
A lot of times we're talking shaky head, we're talking trick worm, we're talking mag trick worm.
Yep.
This little guy right here. If you're not like feeling it, trust me. Thank me later. This is a fish catching fool. There's a ton of great brands out there.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them.
Pick your favorite. I love the Zoom finesse worm.
Zoom finesse worms won us a ton of money over the years and caught us a ton of fish. But the power baits, the Max Sense, the all of them, the
Robo worm,
missile, all of them guys.
And pick the flat bottom. Make sure you got the flat bottom.
Yeah.
The flat bottom and that little bulbous tail gives you all kinds of wandering action.
Now you guys hear cameraman Nick's back in the house.
Well,
yeah,
I brought some 5 stars.
Yes, I saw you were packing. You were packing some good stuff for us. Got everything taken care of.
Everything's taken care of.
Good.
Boat sold.
Boat sold.
She's
All right.
off the market.
Off the market.
Bob Austin, give up the worm color juice.
Mm.
I will. And I like to keep it simple. I have a big zipper bag in the back compartment of my Skeeter that doesn't look like I keep it simple, but I'm also a tackle junkie at heart. But so I'm going to tell you this, Bob. You know, in no particular order. Maybe it is a particular order. My go-to number one color is pretty simple. It's green pumpkin. I'm going to dip that tail in either chartreuse or orange, spike it. Most of the time in the spring, if I'm around grass means crawfish. Crawfish means orange. If I'm on a tidal water, grass means perch. Perch means orange. Any other scenario, I'm going to dip in chartreuse. And I'm just, these are just beliefs that I have.
Well, you know, yeah.
The other color that I'd like to add is, call it what you want to call it. I call it blue fleck, you know, which is kind of a blue grape.
Purplish.
Yeah. Money. Now, I know you have some colors to add to that, but
Well, you're holding one that's probably one of the greatest colors of all
Ever.
times. Not that I don't think we utilize it as much as we should, but because we're just such green pumpkin crazy people, is watermelon red. I mean, watermelon red, it's just, no matter where you go, watermelon red is one of the hottest colors across the country. It works everywhere. I think that's why it's so popular, because guys know no matter where they go, they can really do well with it. I agree with George with his colors, and the one I would add into that is Junebug. Junebug to me is a dirty water grass, you know, dragging it through the grass. You know, I really, and honestly, if you pick those four colors, green pumpkin, blue fleck, you got to have blue fleck, green pumpkin, blue fleck, because it's different than Junebug. Watermelon red and Junebug.
well, and I can tell you, Nick's got a color he's going to tell you about.
Well, I like black with blue fleck.
What
Or
about
straight black?
what about your Rebo worms?
Oh, well, MMM. That's what Margarita Mutilator.
That's
Yeah.
a killer.
I love that
Yeah,
color. I
That's
mean,
a killer.
but that's a killer bait. I'm glad you brought that one up. That's a good one, George.
You know,
that is good.
And we're talking about, if you just tuned in recently, we're talking about spawn season cold fronts. Okay. And a lot of this is going to carry over to cold fronts in general, but spawn season cold fronts.
Yeah.
And we've kind of got our five, you know, these were going to be our top 5 draft picks last week, but
Yeah.
Cannon left us down. Cannon, you're bad, Cannon.
I think the last, the top one you have there, and I think it's something that we have to give it some conversation,
Some
on.
love.
But then there's one other thing that we should add in, but is the compact jig. I mean,
I can't not have a
he has
compact
it.
jig.
He has it as number one, and you know, we had a tournament or a SummerSlam tournament about 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say it was 2 years ago now. The guys who won it were fishing an area that was really close to the boat ramp. And the reason I can say this is because they came on the show and told us that. And we watched them. And they would fish, and then they would fish for like an hour and a half, and then they would leave. And then they would go, and then an hour later, they'd come back and they'd fish for an hour and a half, and they would leave. And they did that 3 or 4 times through the day. And every time they came back here, they threw a finesse jig. This is terrible weather. Windy. It was the cold front, man, the Maximus part of the cold front, the worst part of the cold front. And they were throwing a little finesse jig. And they would come back to this spot and they would fish this for an hour and a half and catch 1 or 2 and make a call or whatever, or just get their limit and maybe just start calling. And then bite would slow down and they would leave, and then they would kind of take a break and they would come back with it. And every fish they caught was on that little black finesse jig.
Well, you know what's funny about that, Mike? So last week, George, I'm sure you already talked about us fishing last week.
I did. I told him
And-
how many fish you caught.
There was a moment where I said to George, I said, man, there's nothing like a jig. And George goes, I could literally pitch and flip a jig all day long and it wouldn't even bother me.
Yeah.
Well, that particular day with just 3 buddies in the boat, I mean, we could have never started the motor and just started fishing.
Yeah.
And 8 hours later, we would have been on about our 900th story each. We would have
Yeah.
covered everything from politics to football.
Yeah.
And we would have been just going like this. Just he'd have been drop shotting. Greg would have been scoping, and I'd have been just flipping my jig at every, like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a bad way to go. But when you get into that cold front situation,
Yeah.
if I had to make an argument for it, like I can use that as my primary tool. I can use that as my cleanup tool. I can use that on hardcover. I can use that on grass. Now, admittedly, when you get talking about fishing grass in a cold front is one thing. Actually being in the grass and discovering that it's a rather large area, you literally have to mentally overcome the concept of a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And you just have to take that jig and just flip it out there. If you can see the grass, pick a clump. If you can't see the grass, if it's a higher tide or the water's dirty or whatever the case may be, I'm usually have either 360 or forward on so I can see grass. Flip out to it. Make your cast count. Let it sink to the bottom. Shake your jig a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Reel it in.
Make another.
Do it
cast.
again.
Thousands of them.
Just like you're looking at a target,
Yeah.
but in your mind, you're playing a mind game
Yeah.
because you're trying to give yourself confidence to keep throwing the jig.
So, George, with that, does it matter what the depth is?
No.
Okay.
No, the compact jig, I think the deepest I ever caught a bass on a skirted jig, compact jig, not counting a football jig, actually counting a football jig, a compact football jig is like 45 feet deep. And it was laying on the bottom. The fish actually had like red clay mud in its belly scales. Like they were outlined. It looked like the cryptic pattern of today. So no, there is, a cold front is a cold front. And it depends what body of water you're on.
So I guess what I'm asking is a lot of guys for this weekend, they're getting ready for a tournament.
Yeah.
And so when you're fishing that grass, does it from 0 to whatever feet you're flipping that jig or you're pitching that jig?
Flipping that jig out exactly the way I just described it. Even if I can't see the grass. At some point, this weekend there's a big BFL on the Upper Bay, the Chesapeake Bay. Well, it's not just the Upper Bay; you can run. But if I'm in that grass, if I've committed to that grass, or I'm in that grass, and I have my cold front situation, this is my cold front protocol. I'm gonna flip that jig. I'm gonna let it hit the bottom. I'm gonna give it a little shake. I'm gonna reel it in. I'm gonna flip it again. Every once in a while, it's not gonna make it to the bottom. And the only negative thing about the jig as a cold front bait is the number of bites you get. It might not be a lot, and you might not be on point.
Yeah.
When you get that bite.
Yeah.
And then wouldn't that be a shame?
And that's the bait that really gets it done now. And I think there's one more that falls into the oh shit kind of category. Like, oh man, this is really bad. And a lot of guys won't throw them. They just won't throw this bait. And it's that bait that is, it gets bites. And that's the TRD, the TRD when you really got to scale down and you really got to focus and you really got to get bites and all this stuff that we talked about is just not working, or you're getting kind of like weird pecks and stuff. You know how you get that little dink and you reel down and there's nothing there, and you're like, God darn it, or you're slow rolling your spinner bait and you get that tunk and you're like, oh man, I just cut, they're hitting the blade. They're eating the blade. They hit the blade because they don't really want it. It's too big. They just crack at a blade. They'll nip at the tail of a jerkbait, just nick at a tail of a jerkbait, and it's just too much for them. Then you break out the TRD and you put it right in their face, and then they eat it. So it's the problem with a TRD is it's too slow for a big area. So you got to really have yourself dialed into where the fish really are, and then you put that bait out there and commit to it. And once you commit to it, you'll put fish in a boat. And you think a little TRD will only catch 12-inch fish?
Oh,
the first time I was introduced to a TRD, we were boat flipping freaking 3.5 pound smallies with it, man.
No.
And I was like, holy crap, what is this thing all about? And now I know it's a big fish catching bait in the right situations. And cold front is something where you break out the Ned rig and you start throwing that thing. And
I will say this:
it's money.
I remember a March tournament you fished on the Chesapeake, and of course March is volatile.
Oh yeah,
March in Pennsylvania is volatile, and Mike and his partner, good friend of ours, Joe Thompson, they got hammered with a brutal cold front, and it was brutal to be out there. And they did extremely well in that tournament with the big TRD, but they had to make sure they had a little thicker hook than what the typical hook is, because they weren't catching many, but they were catching bigs.
We were catching big fish, and it was the deal that, I mean, the big TRD is like this. It's not like
4 inches.
It's like a 4-inch, but it floats. And we had to go to a power finesse big TRD hook, because they would straighten out anything else. I mean, it was around dock poles and rock jetties. We fished them alongside of rock jetties. We fished it in marinas around dock poles. And when you set the hook, we had heavy line. I was fishing braid to 12-pound leader, and we would set the hook and have to rip them out of there, and 4-pound fish wrapping around a pole, man, is a problem.
It is a problem.
So, but we just, the day progressed, it got worse and worse and worse. The bite got worse and worse and worse. So, we finally broke that stuff out and started catching them again, so, but anyway, I mean, even on the river, George and I experienced, cold front, smallmouth fishing on the river. You're days before, you're whacking them on all these different baits, all this different moving stuff. And so, where they're at. And honestly, we've been doing it so long, we know exactly what's going on when they're spawning, what they're doing, pre-spawn, where they're hanging out, where the spawners are, where the post spawners are going. We just know what they're doing. And when that big cold front comes and it's like, holy crap, we got to really slow down. We know where to go to fish a spawner, to fish a post spawner, to fish a pre-spawner. And we just get that thing out and just start dragging that thing. The last Bubba Scale tournament we fished, it was a massive cold front, of course, because we were going fishing, George and I. There's always a massive cold front. In the fall. First thing in the morning, he throws out like second cast with a chatterbait and whacks a 2.5-pound bass. And I look at him, and his water's dirty. It's high. We're like, oh, it's going to be one of them days. That was it. We didn't get bit until 11:30 when he finally said,
it was cold.
It was bad. It was like really bad. He said, I can't believe we got to do this, because we were jerk baiting and we were doing this. We thought it was location because we weren't really on the water. He was like, I can't believe we got to do this. And he gets down, he pulls out this rod out of the rod locker, and it has a TRD on it. He brings up a TRD and he fires that thing out there. Second cast, dunk.
It was classic.
Third cast, dunk. Fourth cast, dink. And I'm like, okay, I know where this is going down. And I jump down and I tie one on, and I throw out, boom. I throw out, boom. And right away, we start catching them. And that's the way we spent the rest of the day. And we freaking railed them.
And it was classic pre-spawn.
Yep.
2 days after a cold front, wind cracking.
Yeah.
Temperatures plummeting.
Exactly what we're talking about
is what it was.
and George was throwing a jig. He threw a jig. He went up through the progression exactly of the book, went through this progression, and we ended up at the TRD. Now this year, the TRD has proven to be the bait in those situations. Other years it was a tube. Other years it was a whatever, and you guys have your own baits too.
Well, you can insert.
You can insert all that kind of stuff.
Quite a bit of baits in those same positions, but
yeah,
think about like our rundown. Okay, is that's our outline. So think about we have compact jig, shaky head, chatterbait, jerkbait, crankbait. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have subcategory
yeah.
of chatterbait is spinnerbait.
Yeah.
Subcategory of jerkbait is swim bait.
Yeah.
Subcategory of shaky head is actually a drop shot and a TRD.
Yeah.
And compact jig, you don't have no subcategory. That's an alpha.
Big jig.
But you have your confidence baits that would, plug and play in this outline.
Yeah.
The point is this outline works for spawn season cold fronts.
Yeah.
And remember, don't get your head out of the game.
Yeah.
The morning after the cold front. A cold front comes through today. Tomorrow's going to be great. It's the next day. Now, Mike's showing me the clock. We got to go. Before we go, I would love to give a shout out.
I love shout outs.
This shout out is very impressive to me.
I love shout outs.
Never met the man, but the Bass Nation tournament on Toledo Bend, and what they do is they have they picking their people that are going to go to the nationals.
Oh, okay.
So we used to call it like divisional.
Yeah.
But now it's like whatever. And young man, 24 years old, by the name of Andrew Rickman from Texas, but never fished Toledo Bend.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So he goes in there, and all I could think of with this young man and how he did this was he had this unbreakable confidence in what he was doing. And he even said his practice was And the last day of his practice, he caught a 7-pounder off of a stump on the edge of a flat that had a shad spawn going on the stump. So, picture all these shad, probably gizzards, maybe threadfin, out on the, 5 to 10 foot of water on this big old flat. You know how these big flats are. You're just kind of like, nah. The game plan in Texas is pre-spawn is the little gullies going through the flats. They call them drains. Well, this is spawn. And post-spawn, for the most part, mostly post-spawn. Mm-hmm. And shad spawn. That water gets pushing 70, the shad spawn. Well, he figured that out. So he went last minute of practice. He went to another flat, found a stump, caught another big. He goes, that's it. I'm fishing nothing but stumps on the edges of flats in 5 to 10 feet of water. 24 years old.
Yeah.
He locked in.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew Rickman, congratulations, sir. Because in 3 days, you weighed in 95.15.
God almighty.
Now we talked about the dirty 30 a little bit.
Wait a second. Tonight. That's ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to break it down for you. We talked about the dirty 30 a little bit tonight. Yeah. And we talked about how in all of our years of fishing, one of the premier fisheries.
I only know one.
We saw one.
One.
We saw lots of 28s.
Yeah.
We saw some 29s.
Yeah. 27s.
We saw lots of 27s.
26s.
We did a 26 one time. Check this out. The weight record for the nation overall for one of these 3-day tournaments was set on the St. Lawrence River by a Canadian with 82.7 in smallmouth. Jeez. So he beat that by 13 pounds, 8 ounces.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that that's never going to be broken again.
Right. It's going to be hard.
But You better eat your Wheaties in the morning if you're going to break it. Now check this out. Day one, he was in second place on day one.
Oh my gosh!
With 32.3, he was in second place.
This is on Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Toledo Bend's one of the best fisheries in the country.
Guess
when I do my south to north tour, that's going to be on my stops. So 32.3 put him in second place because the guy that was beating him that day had 36.3.
Golly bumps.
Day two, he weighs in 34.2. Day three, he weighs in 29.10.
Golly.
95.15. As I said, first time ever on Toledo Bend.
Unbelievable.
And his pattern
figured that pattern out.
His pattern was stumps on the edges of flats and 5 to 10 foot of water with a shad spawn. He caught him on a quickie. He fished a 7.4 medium plus Shimano X Pride with a solid tip. You know, we get a lot of questions about that solid tip.
Mm-hmm.
He said that solid tip gives him pinpoint accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing cast as accurate as that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was using a 17-pound Seaguar leader
so
that he could hit him,
rip him, right out of that stump.
So,
hats off, brother.
Andrew Rickman, congratulations. Good luck at the Nationals. Hope you qualify for the Classic. Get to experience that path. But even if you don't, bro, you are the man.
You are, buddy.
And you got a Tackle Shop Live shout out.
You do, for sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Well, that's great, George. That's a great way to end the show. And I'll tell you guys, great to have everybody hang on tonight. Great to have everybody stop in. Don't forget your registration for SummerSlam. You got to get it in. We're filling up. We got over 100 signed up. And if you want to get in, you better get in real quick because we're going to fill this sucker up. Until next time, we'll catch you on the next Tackle Shop Live.
Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down, knowing how you're blue. Soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile, your sense of